At the start of the Second World War, Marjorie was working as secretary to the MD of the Hygienic Handy Laundry in Tuesday Market Place, Kings Lynn in Norfolk. The company arranged the laundry for the local officers' mess. One of the soldiers, called John, made many visits to make these arrangements, more than were absolutely necessary. In August 1940, John and Marjorie had their first date. The future was uncertain in the early days of the war, so the couple wanted to get engaged. Marjorie was under 21, so John had to ask Marjorie's mother for permission. They got engaged. Early in 1941, John, along with the rest of the Norfolk Regiment, were sent to Castle Douglas in Scotland and then on to the Far East. On the 15th of February 1942, John was taken prisoner. Back in Kings Lynn, Marjorie had her own narrow escape. One evening, she and a friend went to Limbert's in Norfolk Street to get fish and chips. As they walked down the street with their supper, a bomb dropped from the skies above, destroying the shop in which they had been minutes earlier and caused many injuries. Marjorie received a Red Cross letter from John, simply stating, "I am well." Marjorie realised that John was a prisoner of war. She was called up to work in munitions in Letchworth and then at Murphy Radio in Welland Garden City as an instrument maker. Some of the work she was required to do was secret war work. She had no way of letting John know where she was living. In August 1945, the war ended in the Far East. In September, Marjorie returned to Kings Lynn and found a letter that had been delivered to her old house. It was from John and said, "I have 10 yards of China white silk for your wedding dress," so she knew he was on his way home. Marjorie went to meet John and the other returning POWs at Euston Station in London. There was an allocated reception area and many ambulances. When Marjorie saw John, she was shocked to see him so weak and emaciated. He weighed just 5 stone, and his belongings had to be carried by someone else. On the 11th of November 1945, the village of Gaywood celebrated 3 firsts. St Faith's Church bells rang for the first time since the start of the war. St Faith's Church held its first wedding since the war ended. And Padre Noel Duckworth, formerly of the 5th Norfolks, performed his first ever wedding ceremony. He married Marjorie and John. John wore a new suit as his uniform and other clothes were too big for him. Marjorie wore a dress made from the 10 yards of China white silk John brought back from the Far East.